What's up, everybody? Richard back today with another episode of the Warped Report, episode number 34. And listen, I'll just tell you right off the bat, I am recording this a little bit earlier than what I normally do. I'm recording this right now at 12:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I usually record it late into the night, right around 1 a.m. Tuesday morning, because I try to wait until the very last second to get these news updates out to you before we upload the video. But today is my birthday, so I will be off the grid later this evening, just hanging out with family at home and whatnot. So I wanted to get this episode done a little bit early. So if I miss anything, I do apologize. And actually, speaking of missing things, in good old Warped Report fashion, last week we did the episode, and what happened the next day? This thing was announced, the When We Were Young Festival, featuring just a potpourri of bands that are still popular and also bands from yesteryear, My Chemical Romance, Paramore, Bring Me the Horizon, Day to Remember, Avril Lavigne, what else you got here? La Dispute, Silverstein, Census Fail, Sleeping with Sirens, Get Dance Gavin Dance, AFI, Paris, The Maine, Mayday Parade, Motionless in White, Black Veil Brides, Ice Nine Kills, Knocked Loose, the list goes on and on and on. And now, we won't talk too much about this because I'm sure you've been inundated with memes online. People are like, well, this is the same company that did Astroworld. And listen, I'm not discounting what happened at Astroworld at all, but it's Live Nation. And in 2019 alone, Live Nation hosted over 40,000 events. Things happen. It's very tragic, not taken away from that, but that is not a reason to discredit this festival. Of course, there have been some people wondering how you're going to fit all these bands in one day. That I am very curious about. I haven't seen any set times or anything like that. You have to account for, from me playing shows in the past, you have to account for obviously a turnover. You could probably get it done in 5 minutes if you have, a good solid back line. But there's going to be a lot of running around. There are 3 stages, and there has been another day announced. And actually, the people from When We Were Young Festival have responded to some of the criticism. They've said that it is thoroughly planned, and that the safety is, of most concern, blah, 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 blah. But, most of the bands here are going to be playing for 20 minutes, and some of them playing for 45 to 60 minutes. I'm not that worried in terms of how this will go off. I think that it will go pretty well. There's just a lot happening here. People are like, well, you're going to miss certain bands. Listen, that is what we had to deal with for years with Warped Tour. You used to go look at that big ass, part of my language, but that big ass blimp thing that had all the different times of the bands that were playing. You were like, dang, man, I want to go see Knocked Loose, but Wage Wars playing at the same time. Or, back in the day, man, I want to see As I Lay Dying, but August Burns Red is playing. That happens at all festivals. It's just the nature of the beast. You got to deal with it. But, When We Were Young Festival, that is scheduled to take place later this year. I believe it was October 22nd. The date is actually not here, but the tickets are on sale now. And October 22nd and the 23rd. Okay, perfect. So that's happening later this year, and I do know that they have sold out, but I'm sure there's some aftermarket tickets that are close to the equivalent of multiple car payments or a mortgage if you want to get in on that. But anyway, enough on the When We Were Young Festival. Let's talk a little bit more about Every Time I Die. Last week we talked about how the band has split up. Since then, the bass player Steve has come out and has made a comment about why the band split up. Keith Buckley's come out, and it's basically, the TLDR basically is that, it just sounds to me, there's a massive miscommunication, there's paranoia, there's just 20 years of being around the same people. These things happen, and it's unfortunate that it happened the way that it did. However, the guys, minus Keith, of course, have talked about starting a new project. So, we'll see what happens with that. There's no obviously announcements or plans or anything like that right now, but it is something that they have alluded to for the future. But as one band departs after many years, we have a band that has come back after many years, and that is a SKYLIT Drive. They are returning with their original lineup, and their debut EP turned 15 years old, and they announced their comeback alongside of that. I never listened to a SKYLIT Drive personally, but I know that this band means a lot to a lot of people, so that is very cool to see. Now let's talk about a couple tracks that have come out. ERRA, they've debuted their new song, Nigh to Silence. This is going to be coming. This is part of what's going to be. This is a single that is part of the deluxe edition for their self-titled album that'll be coming out on March 18th. I really like this track a lot. It was over 5 minutes, but it was a very pretty sounding track. You had a fake out, build up, breakdown in there. You definitely want to check this one out. I really enjoyed this track a lot. It was almost as if they took Vanish Canvas and Snowblood and merged them together to me, but I really enjoyed this track a lot. Next, Thornhill, they released a new track titled Archangel, and it's actually good because I'm just coming off of doing my reaction. I just recorded that. This one here, I listened to their other track, Casanova. I enjoyed that one. I thought it was super catchy. I liked the riffs. The breakdown at the end of that was cool. This one didn't really have any of that. I didn't really have an identifiable hook for me. No breakdown. Very interesting track. Not my thing, but if you're kind of into like that grungier kind of goth aesthetic or even that sound, this might be for you, but again, not for me personally. Archangel, that's the name of the Thornhill song, but Crown Magnetar have signed with Unique Leader Records, and they're set to release a new EP that came announced with the signing, and that will be titled Alone in Death, and it will be released on March 25th. Crown Magnetar, fantastic deathcore band if you want to check them out. Slipknot have announced their Knotfest Roadshow Tour 2022. It's going to be featuring In This Moment, Ginger, Cypress Hill, and Horror. And that'll be taking place from March 16th to April 17th with In This Moment and Ginger. And then Cypress Hill and Horror will pick up the latter half of the tour in May, starting May 18th to June 18th. So this will be really cool. They're going to be playing near me here, Manchester. That'll be with Cypress Hill and Horror. I would have preferred the Ginger and In This Moment bill, but, hey, it is what it is. But, yeah, Slipknot coming to an area near you. They're going to be touring in total from March 16th through June 18th. That's a massive tour. Speaking of tours, let's continue on with Wage War, who are now currently on tour with Falling in Reverse, but they have announced their tour this spring with support from While She Sleeps on select dates. It says here The Plot and You on select dates, and then Gideon and Chamber look like they'll be along for the ride for the entirety of the tour. The dates with While She Sleeps are from April 25th to May the 20th, and then with The Plot and You, May the 21st to May the 28th. So, yeah, Wage War, very excited. I'm looking forward to that. We got a couple dates near me here. We got Portland, Maine, and then, I guess Hartford is pretty close to me, so that's another decently close one. But, speaking of, we talked about a band signing, Crown Magnetar to Unique Leader Records. Well, Suicide Silence are signing back with Century Media Records. Been quite a bit of time since they've been with them. They were with them for The Cleansing in 2007, No Time to Bleed in 2009, and The Black Crown in 2011. And now they are back. So this is almost, this is obviously signaling that there's going to be a release here coming in the near future. And then now we got to talk about some sad news on the out here. We got a couple of tours that have been postponed. First up is Bring Me the Horizons postponing their European tour. That was scheduled to be in Europe. It's being postponed to February 2023 due to ongoing COVID situations across Europe. That was featuring a day to remember, Lorna Shore, and Poor Stacy. So that is a big bummer, especially for a band like Lorna Shore. That would have been a massive tour for them. But, that is being postponed to February 2023. And then also we have another European and UK tour being postponed. That is Chelsea Grin, Carnifex, Body Snatcher. I believe, actually, that they were, I could be totally wrong here, but I think Lorna Shore was originally supposed to be on this tour, or they were supposed to be on another tour overseas, but, they opted to go with the Bring Me the Horizon tour, of course. I don't think it was this one, but I remember it being a tour similar to this. But, the tour also featured, as we mentioned, Body Snatcher, but Burials and The Convalescents, which is cool because I've actually played with The Convalescents quite a while ago. But the new dates now are November the 27th through December the 20th in 2022. But with that, everybody, that does it for this week's episode of the Warped Report. How psyched are you for the When We Were Young festival? I know that is in Las Vegas, only 2 days only. So if you're making it out there, what bands are you most excited for? Every Time I Die, are you excited for a new project from those guys? You know, without Keith, of course. How pumped are you for a SKYLIT Drive making a comeback? What do you think of the new ERRA and Thornhill tracks? What do you think of Crown Magnetar and Suicide Silence signing to Unique Leader Records and Century Media Records, respectively? You're going to be going to either the Slipknot or the Wage War headlining festival, headlining tours. And also, how bummed are you about the Bring Me the Horizon and Chelsea Grin tours being postponed? I can imagine for European fans that those are both going to be bummers. Those are both massive bills, and I wish that those bills would come to the U.S. But anyways, that does it for this week's episode of the Warped Report. I am Richard Janvrin. This is the Out of Line YouTube channel, and I will see you next week. Peace.